Roy Halladay was one of the best pitchers to ever throw off the mound in the MLB. He was often nicknamed Doc after the mid-1800s American gunslinger Doc Halladay. In the 1995 MLB draft, Halladay was drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays with the 17th overall pick. He made his MLB debut on September 20th, 1998 against the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. He struck out the first batter he ever faced. That lineup included two Hall of Famers, Wade Boggs and Fred McGriff. He went 5 innings in what would be a no decision for Halladay. He opened everyone's eyes in his second start when he carried a perfect game into the 9th inning. He was 1 out away from history when Bobby Higginson homered to left field. In 1999, Halladay started the year in the bullpen and made a couple of spot starts throughout the year, eventually racking up 149 innings and an 8-7 record with a 3.92 ERA in 18 starts. The start of the century was not polite to Halladay, as he sported an 11.53 ERA in the first month of the season before being demoted to AAA affiliate Syracuse during most of May and June, and then in August. Halladay finished the year with a 10.64 ERA and only 67 innings of work. Before the 2001 season, Halladay was optioned to Class A Dunedin to rebuild his delivery. His fastball was up to 95 miles per hour, but it had little movement. His pitches were up in the strike zone, which was the reason why he was so unsuccessful during the 2000 season. Halladay altered his pitching motion so that his arm angle was more deceptive and his pitches had more sink to them to get easier outs. The adjustments proved beyond successful as he was back up with the Blue Jays by mid-season. He finished the 2001 season with a 5.53 record and a 3.16 ERA in 16 starts. He would never pitch out of the bullpen again. His breakout season came during the 2002 season. He finished with a 19-7 record and a nice 2.93 ERA with 168 strikeouts and a league-leading 239 innings. He finished first in WAR among all pitchers with 7.3. Halladay was named to his first All-Star game. He continued his success during the 2003 season when he won his first Cy Young Award after compiling a league-leading 22-7 record with a 3.25 ERA and another league-leading 266 innings with 204 strikeouts. He finished first in WAR again amongst all pitchers at 8.1. That year, he pitched the first extra inning shutout since 1991 after going 10 innings against the Tigers in a 1-0 victory. In 2004, Halladay was placed on the disabled list twice due to right shoulder problems. In just 133 innings, he went 8-8 with a 4.20 ERA. He walked 39 batters, 7 more than he had walked in 2003 when he had pitched twice as many innings. He later revealed that he had been injured throughout the entire season with a tired throwing arm, which he believed was from intense workouts in preseason. 2005 began successfully for Halladay as he posted a 12-4 record with a 2.41 ERA in 42 innings and was named to his third All-Star game. However, he would not pitch in the All-Star game as on July 8th, Kevin Mensch of the Texas Rangers hit a line drive that broke Halladay's leg, effectively ending his season. The injury Halladay endured did not worry the Blue Jays as they offered him a 4-year, $40 million extension that would put him in a Blue Jays uniform until 2010. But more on that later. He was finally healthy again for the 2006 season when he started in 32 games and finished with over 200 innings for the third time in his career at 220. His record stood at 16-5 and finished second in the league with a 3.19 ERA. His strikeout number dropped to 132, but he did a good job of getting guys out other ways as his whip was still second in the league at 1.100. He started the 2007 season strong after winning Pitcher of the Month for April, after compiling a 4-0 record in 6 games and going at least into the 6th inning in all of them, and having a 2.28 ERA with 2 complete games, one being an extra innings against the Detroit Tigers on April 13th. He would have an appendectomy in early May, but would return later that month and still finish with a 16-7 record in 225 innings and 139 strikeouts with an okay 3.71 ERA, which would keep him out of the All-Star game that year and out of the conversation for another Cy Young Award. Pressure started to mount on Halladay as he was now about to be 31 years old and coming off a down year with a $10 million contract. But this is the pivotal point in Halladay's career, where he is known to be one of the most dominant pitchers ever. Halladay was good before, sometimes even great, but he only flashed signs of the potential he possessed as he couldn't consistently put together good seasons in a row. In 2008, that all changed. 31-year-old Halladay started his sixth straight opening day for the Blue Jays and would never look back. He led the league in complete games with 9 and inning pitched with 246. He was back in the strikeout column after finishing with 206. He would finish second in ERA at an amazing 2.78. He finished second in Cy Young voting behind Cliff Lee of the Cleveland Indians, who would lead the league in ERA, right in front of Halladay. His last game was fitting as he pitched a complete game against the Yankees to win his 20th game of the season and finish with a record of 20-11. In 2009, Halladay made his franchise record 7th straight opening day start. That year, he led a young, inexperienced Blue Jays staff. On June 2nd, he struck out 14 against the Anaheim Angels. He pitched a complete game and had a career-high 133 pitches in a 6-4 victory. On June 17th, Halladay was placed on the 15-day disabled list with a pulled groin. He would be back in time to participate in his 6th All-Star game, this time starting for the American League and pitching 2 innings and letting in 3 runs. His last start in a Blue Jays uniform, he was phenomenal. He pitched his 2nd straight complete game shutout after giving up only 3 hits and striking out 6 against the Boston Red Sox, who would make the playoffs that year after finishing second behind the eventual World Series champion New York Yankees. The Blue Jays won that game against the Red Sox 12-0. He finished the 2009 season with similar numbers he put up in 2008. He went 17-10 with a 2.79 ERA in 239 innings with 208 strikeouts. It was his 4th straight 200-inning season and 6th overall. With 1 year left on his deal in 2010, the Toronto Blue Jays shipped Roy Halladay to the Philadelphia Phillies in the 2009 offseason. The Blue Jays received 3 minor leaguers in return. The Phillies clearly won the trade when you look at it 9 years later, as none of the players in the trade made a meaningful impact for the Blue Jays. Halladay was with the Blue Jays for 12 years. In 287 games started with the Blue Jays, he compiled 148 wins and only 76 losses. He had 49 complete games with them. His career ERA with the Blue Jays was 3.43. He pitched over 2,000 innings in a Blue Jays uniform, compiling 2,046 innings to be exact. He almost eclipsed 1,500 strikeouts, but remained 5 short at a total of 1,495 strikeouts with the Blue Jays. He was a 6-time All-Star and compiled a 48.5 WAR. His time with the Blue Jays was now over. 12 years with the Jays, and Halladay never made the playoffs once. Halladay wanted a chance to compete for a World Series, so he signed a contract extension as soon as he got traded to the Phillies, worth $60 million over 3 years, coming out to $20 million per year. Halladay was immediately thrust into being the Phillies' ace as he started opening day at the start of the new decade. He pitched 7 innings of 1-1 ball with 9 strikeouts against the Washington Nationals in Nationals Park. Halladay's first month with his new team was very successful, going 4-1 with a 1.80 ERA. On May 29th, Halladay pitched a perfect game against the Florida Marlins. It was the Phillies' 2nd perfect game in team history and 18th all-time, the last one coming only 20 days before Halladay's by Dallas Braden of the Oakland Athletics. Halladay would have his best season yet at age 33. He went 21-10 with a 2.44 ERA in 250 innings and 219 strikeouts. It was a phenomenal season as he got his 2nd Cy Young Award after finishing 1st in wins, innings pitched, complete games, and WAR. He finished 2nd in strikeouts and 3rd in ERA. For the first time in Halladay's career, he made the playoffs after the Phillies won the NL East handedly, as the Phillies had the best record in the MLB. They faced the NL Central winner Cincinnati Reds in the National League Division Series. Halladay took the ball in Game 1 and made history. His first postseason appearance, he hurled a no-hitter, 9 innings of no-hit baseball with 8 strikeouts. His only mistake was a walk to Jay Bruce in the 5th inning. It was just the 2nd no-hitter in postseason history. The Phillies would go on to sweep the Reds in 3 games after another complete game from their starting pitcher, this time it being the 26-year-old left-hander Cole Hamels. They went on to face the San Francisco Giants in the NLCS. Halladay got the ball in Game 1 again, but this time let up 4 runs in 7 innings. Not a bad outing, but not good enough, as Tim Lincecum allowed 3 runs en route to a 4-3 Giants win. The Phillies were down 3-1 in the series when Halladay took the ball again in Game 5. This time he outdueled Lincecum, only allowing 2 runs when Lincecum let up 3. The Phillies bullpen held on strong, not allowing a run. They won the game 4-2 and extending the series to 6 games. However, in Game 6 at Citizens Bank Park, with the game tied at 2 in the 8th inning, Juan Uribe hit a go-ahead solo home run that would win the game for the Giants, sending them to the World Series where they would beat the Texas Rangers in 5 games. In the 2010 offseason, 32-year-old pitcher Cliff Lee signed with the Phillies for 5 years and $120 million. Lee was the AL Cy Young in his breakout season back in 2008. With Lee added to the rotation, the Phillies' rotation was dubbed maybe the best ever. The media called them the Fantastic Four, with Halladay leading the charge, followed by Lee, Cole Hamels, and Joe Blanton. Halladay had the best year of his career, with career bests in ERA, FIP, strikeouts, and WAR. The Phillies finished with the best record in the MLB, which was fitting. They were in first place from May 1st on. Halladay's first half performance earned him his last All-Star game of his career, racking up 8 in total. He had an 11-3 record with a 2.45 ERA and had 6 complete games and 19 started. He started his final All-Star game going 2 innings and striking out 1. The second half was even better. He went 8-3 with a 2.19 ERA and 13 starts to finish out the 2011 campaign and to lead the Phillies to the playoffs once again. He compiled a 19-6 record that year with a 2.35 ERA, which was second in the league behind the 23-year-old phenom Clayton Kershaw. He led the league in complete games with 8. Halladay finished in the top 3 in wins, WAR, ERA, FIP, strikeouts, and innings pitched. The Phillies had home field advantage throughout the entire 2011 playoffs, as they had the best record in the league. The 2011 NLDS was between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Philadelphia Phillies. Of course, Halladay got the ball in Game 1 of the best-of-5 series. He let up a 3-run home run to Lance Berkman in the first inning to put his team in a hole. Those were the only runs he would let up, as the Phillies would end up scoring 11 runs for Halladay. He would go 8 innings of 3-run baseball with 8 strikeouts. The teams would trade wins the next 3 games, and the series would tie at 2 apiece heading into the Game 5 finale. Halladay would go another wonderful 8 innings, letting up only 1 run in the first inning. But that 1 run was all that the Cardinals needed, as the 36-year-old veteran Chris Carpenter pitched a complete game shutout, only allowing 3 hits and sending the Cardinals off to the NLCS. The Cardinals would eventually beat the Texas Rangers in the World Series that year in 7 games. That would be the last postseason Halladay would pitch in. 2011 would be the high point of Halladay's career, as in 2012 he took a major decline. He still pitched opening day against the Pittsburgh Pirates, going 8 shutout innings with 5 strikeouts. He had a good month of April, but he had a 6.11 ERA in the month of May and was put on the 15-day disabled list with a shoulder strain, his first DL stint since 2009, almost 3 years beforehand. He wouldn't return to the mound almost 2 months later, on July 17th against the Los Angeles Dodgers. He finished the rest of the year going 7-3 with a 4.93 ERA, obviously not his best stuff. The Phillies were not much better, as they finished 81-81, which was not good enough for the playoffs. Halladay only made 25 starts that year and finished with an 11-8 record and a 4.49 ERA. He only pitched 156 innings, his lowest since 2005. Halladay had 199 wins and 100 losses at the end of the 2012 season, hoping that the start of the 2013 campaign would be his 2,000th career win. He was not the opening day starter this time around, as Cole Hamels got the nod against the Braves. Halladay would start the second game. Everyone knew he was on the decline after a 6.06 ERA in spring training, and it showed. In his first 2 starts, he was absolutely atrocious, as he let up 12 runs and barely 7 innings of work. However, in his third start of the season, he shined. Halladay went 8 innings of 1-run ball and allowing only 5 hits. He became the 112th pitcher of all time with 200 wins. On May 6th, Halladay was placed on the 15th day disabled list with a right shoulder injury again. He would have to get surgery this time and would miss more than 3 months. He wouldn't return until August 25th against the Arizona Diamondbacks, going 6 innings in a win and being helped by Roger Bernardina and a superb defense. Halladay would pitch the rest of the year for the lowly Phillies, only making 13 starts, his lowest since 2000. He finished with a 4-5 record and a horrendous 6.82 ERA. He had a negative WAR that year, negative 1.1. The only other time that happened was in 2000. All the other years, he had a positive WAR. At this point in his life, Halladay was 36 years old and his contract just ended. After coming off his worst season of his career and the best days behind him, as well as his team, he decided to retire. The Phillies missed the playoffs for a second straight year after fumbling in the playoffs in 2011. It was time for Halladay to retire. So on December 9th, 2013, Halladay signed a one-day contract with his longtime team, the Toronto Blue Jays, and announced his retirement due to a back injury and to devote more time to his family. Although he wasn't a player anymore, he was still around the game. He was hired as a guest instructor for the Blue Jays and the Phillies. In March of 2017, the Phillies hired Halladay as a mental skills coach. Halladay then sent out to obtain a pilot license. His father was a professional pilot, so he grew up around planes. After getting his license, Halladay developed a fondness for the Icon 45 aircraft. He eventually bought one for himself. It would be the same plane that Halladay would lose his life in. Halladay crashed his Icon 45 in shallow water near Newport Richey, Florida, under near-perfect skies on November 7, 2017. There was plenty of finger-pointing after the accident, some focused on Halladay's flying habits and some on the Icon for encouraging low-level maneuvers of landing or takeoff. More distressing, though, were the details released in the autopsy. It is no surprise that Halladay suffered from multiple broken bones and internal organ damage when the aircraft hit the water. Even at relatively slow speed, slamming into the water is like hitting concrete. It was also reported that Halladay had enough mood-altering drugs in his system to confirm he shouldn't have been driving a car, let alone flying a plane. Halladay's blood report stated that the 2-time Cy Young Award winner had morphine in his system. Halladay was elected to the MLB Baseball Hall of Fame on January 22, 2019. In his first year of eligibility, Halladay received 85% of the vote, surpassing the 75% needed to be voted in. When the Phillies signed Bryce Harper to the largest free agent contract ever, there was some speculation of which number he would wear. When Harper was with the Washington Nationals for the first 6 years of his career, he wore the number 34, the same number as Halladay. Harper would go on to say that Roy Halladay should be the last one to wear the number 34 in a Phillies uniform. So instead, Harper chose the number 3. After Halladay's decline during the 2012 season, many in the industry believed the Phillies were bound for a rebuild, and they were. To this date, they have not made the playoffs since that 2011 team. However, the 2019 season is looking bright for the Phillies after their most lucrative offseason ever. It seems as if they have finally moved on from that 2011 team and will have many good seasons to come.